Okay, I got sound, not muted. Try refresh. Let me see if I can. Anybody? Hey guys, the Radar Man, can you hear me over on Rumble? I've got somebody on YouTube that's struggling. So if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up or a yes or I don't know, some other indicator. Oh, I know what it is. It's because this is way down here. No, it's right up by my mouth. Weird. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. Yes, now I can. Okay, that was it. I just had to do it way down too low. Lisa, is that better, honey? Hopefully it is. Anyway, my kids called, my daughter called, and I just love the sound of her little voice. She's like, "Hi, what are we doing for Thanksgiving?" And I love that I don't know what's going on there. Uh, I love that she's already thinking of Thanksgiving. Her birthday is um, the 17th of November, and then her husband's birthday, almost husband, I'm not sure ever what to call him, almost son-in-law. His birthday is a week after hers. Um, Lisa, let me know if you can hear now, hon. Hopefully everything's good. So anyway, somebody, I think it was Lisa, was it you who mentioned in the chat during book club that you had a respiratory virus? Now, I'll give you my disclaimer right up front. This is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. I am a retired nurse, so I don't have an active nursing license. This isn't medical advice. This shouldn't be taken as medical advice. By watching this, you're agreeing that you won't take this as medical advice. Always check with your doctor, your pharmacist. I'm just showing you what has worked for me and many people that I love when they have a respiratory virus. And the thing that it's funny because we kind of separate them out. We're like, well, this person's got type A flu or type B flu. And yes, we can definitely figure that out. Or this person has RSV or strep, or, there's all kinds of viruses that can affect the oropharynx, the nose. They can get into the lower respiratory tract, into the bronchioles and the lungs. And so there we go, ladies. Good. So you moved over, huh? Wonder what's up with uh, YouTube. Oh well, it's all right. They can't ding me if they can't hear me, right? We'll try that. They probably have a lip reading thing that's like, oh, she used that one word. So anyway, there are some basics that you can do for little ones on up if you've got something respiratory going on. And I wanted to just go over what those are. Now, the first thing so we have this whole big, if you go to my website, Witthealth Coaching, two T's, Wit, two T's, health coaching, .com, you can see the whole protocol. That is the whole over-the-counter protocol. I think I also mentioned some of the pharmaceuticals that are available. People were complaining that it's really complicated because they don't know which to choose. The reason that there are so many options in the online protocol is because there are so many different people. So you'll have one person that's like, oh, I'm allergic to povidone iodine, or I am allergic, I can't take sodium ascorbate, or you know what I mean? So there's all kinds of, well, what if this, or what if that, or what if I'm taking this drug, can I take that? So I put the whole kitchen sink in there so that you could choose. But bare bones, what do you do when you feel something coming on? The first thing I would do if I felt anything in my nose, ears, throat coming on would be I would start vitamin C. And you can use any vitamin C you want. I'm going to show you the vitamin C I use, and I'm going to explain to you why I use it. Also, I put all the links for everything in the description. I don't think you can see it on YouTube or Facebook. So come to Rumble and you'll be able to get all of the links for everything in the description. And I use super cheap stuff because what's the point of having a first aid kit that you can't afford to build, right? So let me show you. The first thing that we're going to look at is the vitamin C. Let me pull up my document here. I'm pulling up a picture for you. I should have just uploaded these, but I didn't have enough time. Okay, which one's the vitamin C? This one. Okay, let me do a screen share for you. And share screen. Oh, shoot. No, window. Okay. Okay, so this is the ascorbic acid that I like. It's by Nutribiotic. It's $11.62 on Amazon. And like I said, you can use any vitamin C you want. I just like sodium ascorbate. Um, hey, Ashley. I hope the boys are doing better. Ashley's boys had whatever nonsense was going around, bless their little hearts. Um, I like sodium ascorbate, one, because it doesn't taste bad, and two, because there is a huge dose of vitamin C in a little bit. If you notice up here, the serving size is 1/4 teaspoon, and you get 1,100 milligrams of vitamin C. Okay. So you can easily throw that in with a little bit of juice. Your kids will not notice it. And you can go way up on the vitamin C. So I would start if as soon as I felt like something wasn't right. And I don't know if you guys have that, but I have that. I'm like, something's not right. Something's coming. I just feel kind of off. I'll hit it with a half a teaspoon of this. So that's 2,200 milligrams. And I'll do that every couple of hours. With vitamin C, the thing that the wisdom is that you do vitamin C to bowel tolerance. Oh, it didn't show it to you. There we go. You do it to bowel tolerance. And so you take that 1,100 milligrams and a little bit of juice and you feel fine. And then a couple hours later, you do it again, you feel fine. A couple hours later, you do it again, or an hour later, however often. And when you get loose stools, that's how you know you've hit your limit. And you go back to the previous dose that didn't give you loose stools. So say you're at 4,400 milligrams, you go ahead and you take that next dose, which is another 1,100, put you at 5,500 and you get the trots. Back off, go back to 4,400. That's your dose for a 24-hour period. And just split it up throughout the day so that the thing about vitamin C is you want to take it every couple hours because you want to keep your blood level of it up. So what's interesting is other mammals, when they get sick, they're able to increase their production of vitamin C. We don't produce vitamin C, so we have to take it in. And so if you test like a cat that's sick, their level of vitamin C will be really high. They jack it up to help deal with the illness. So you definitely want to be using vitamin C. Let me get us back on our right screen here. Oh, stop that. No, I don't want to remove me from the scene. No, stop. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure it out here. Remove from scene. Yes. Okay, let's add the scene. So always start with vitamin C, no matter what it is. Even if it's an intestinal issue, I would start with vitamin C. You're probably going to have to go a little slower with the dosage if you've got diarrhea because it can cause that um, as you get up into the higher amounts. You can take quite a bit before you're going to have that issue. With littles, so you've got um, a baby, I would just half that. I do 1/8 of a teaspoon. 500 milligrams of vitamin C is not going to hurt a baby. If you're worried about it, you can split it out. But 2,000 milligrams a day if a baby is sick is not going to cause a problem. Um, Make sure if you are doing thank you, Marie. Make sure if you are doing chewable vitamin C with your kids that you're having them rinse their mouths out when they're done because it's so acidic it can damage the enamel on their teeth. And that goes for you too. But a lot of kids will do the chewables, the gummies, however you can get it in them. I don't care. People will go on and on about, oh, but there's sugar in the gummies. I don't care. Get the vitamin C in them. I prefer you could get it in them in this powder form in a little bit of juice, and I've never had a little one not take it. Um, it's just tart, just a little bit tart, so it's really good in apple juice or grape juice. The other thing that I would start right away if I wasn't feeling good and that you should be taking anyway is vitamin D3 K2. And for those of you who are on D2, I don't care if it's a prescription, it's not the right vitamin D. You need to be on D3. D2 will improve your bone density and it will improve your numbers. It will not help with your immunity. And immunity, D2 acts like a steroid. Vitamin D acts like a steroid in the body and brings down inflammation. If you are overweight or you have some kind of chronic illness, autoimmune problem, inflammatory problems, you probably have low vitamin D. Sometimes it's hard to get the insurance company to pay for you to have your vitamin D level tested. So I would always mention to my doctor about my bone pain. Mention your bone pain or that somebody you love has been complaining of bone pain and maybe you need your vitamin D level checked. And with that diagnosis code of bone pain, your insurance will pay for it. So I like my folks to have their vitamin D level between 50 and 100. If your vitamin D level is 100 and your calcium level is fine, don't let the doctor freak you out that your vitamin D level is too high. 30 to 100 is considered normal. Um, During this last big respiratory virus that went around, they found that they did a study and they found that people who had a vitamin D level of 20 or under who ended up in the hospital with that particular illness had a 96% risk of mortality. 94, I'm sorry, 94%. If it was 30 or under, the risk was 86%. If it was over 30, the risk was 4%. And they buried that study. The other thing is the government goes around every so many years, I can't remember how often, and they do this nutrient testing in the population and so many people in the population. And the last time they did it, they found that the average vitamin D level for a healthy American was 18. 30 is the bottom level of normal. So what did they conference about doing about that instead of saying, "Hey, doctors, let's check these. Let's make sure that the vitamin D levels are where they're supposed." I mean, it affects cognition, weight loss, all kinds of things. Vitamin D is hugely important, hugely. Um, what they did was when they saw that the average was 18, they all sat down and discussed just lowering the reference range to 12 to 20, and then everybody would be normal. This is how your government works. It's ridiculous. It is the most disgusting public health system that I've seen. It's just horrible, horrible. Um, so yeah, so instead of saying, hey, we need to get everybody's vitamin D level up because low vitamin D levels can lead to cancer, they can lead to multiple sclerosis, all kinds of problems. Let's just lower the reference range and then we can call everybody normal. How about not? How about let's not do that? How about let's get everybody between 50 and 100? And so I'm going to show you, this is the vitamin D that I like. And let me get back here and pull this up on the screen. And the links are all on Rumble. Share screen. Sorry, I had to kind of do this quick because I didn't know we were going to do it. But you got to do things when they need to be done, don't you? Okay, so this is the one. Let me make sure it's on the screen. It's not. Let's add this. I don't understand why it's not adding it. Remove from scene. Yes. Add to scene. Add to scene. There it is. Okay. This is the Bronson brand vitamin K2D3. It has 5,000 international units of vitamin D3 and 90 micrograms of K2. The other thing that they found in the last respiratory illness that went around was that people in the hospital, people critically ill with that illness, had very low vitamin K levels. So you always want to take D3 with K2. And again, this is in the links. Um, you always want to take K2 with D3 because K2 is like the traffic cop. So like when I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago, they kept coming in telling me I had hyperparathyroidism because my parathyroid hormone was low or high, whichever way it goes. Um, I can't remember which way it was. I guess high. Um, and the first thing I said was, well, what is my vitamin D level? Well, what does that have to do with it? I said, because if your vitamin D level is low, and I've been slacking on my vitamin D, if your vitamin D level is low, your parathyroid level will go up. So that's something to think about. If your doctor's told you have an elevated parathyroid hormone, you need them to check your vitamin D and make sure your vitamin D level is okay. Um, so you definitely want to be taking vitamin D. I don't know of anybody who does not need vitamin D every day. That's a good standard dose, 5,000 international units. You want to take 90 micrograms of K2 for every 5,000 units of vitamin D you're taking. And the reason that I like that Bronson is because it's exactly in there and it's inexpensive. That particular bottle will last you 3 months. Um, and just I recommend it to everybody during cold and flu season. It's just really good. I've not had it not work to bring up people's numbers. And so I like that one. Lady Be Good says about 10 years ago, I read something that tied low vitamin D levels to a disruption in our body's ability to process it. Oh, interesting. Which is tied to one of the mandatory childhood vaccines. You can't find it. The other thing is if you are Black, or dark skinned, or you are very overweight, sometimes you lack the enzyme that's needed to convert that vitamin D in the body. And there's a prescription vitamin D. It's not D2, prescription. Hold on, I'm looking this up. Never can remember the name of it. It's not D2. This one is already broken down. Calciferol, Calciferol. It's fat soluble, and it helps your body absorb calcium and phosphorus. And it's a vitamin D. But the great thing about, I think that's right, calciferol, yes. Um, anyway, that for people who are dark skinned, sometimes they need that. There's some sort of genetic issue with Black folks. They have a hard time breaking down vitamin D. We used to think it was just because their skin is so dark, and so that conversion was more difficult to take place. But it looks like there's an enzymatic issue. So you may need a prescription, not a D2. You need the broken down vitamin D. And they found when they gave that to people in the hospital, this form that's prescription that's already broken down, that patients did much better than just giving them vitamin D that their body would then need to break down. Vitamin K is the traffic cop. So, what vitamin K does, first of all, it prevents blood clots. It normalizes clotting because you need some clotting, right? Or you'd bleed to death when you cut yourself. Vitamin K so when you take vitamin D, your calcium level is going to go up too. So if you don't take vitamin K, that calcium can go into the blood vessels and cause hardening in your blood vessels, hardening of the arteries, atherosclerosis. Um, K2 tells that calcium where to go. It tells it to go to the bones and go to the teeth and go to other places where it's needed so that it doesn't build up in your arteries. This is part of why we saw so many women, years and years ago, before we realized what was going on with osteoporosis. You didn't see a whole lot of women having strokes and heart attacks. Men took the lead in that. Well, then they started having women take vitamin D and calcium supplements with no K2. And now women's rates of heart attacks and strokes are as high as men's because of this hardening of the arteries. So if you're going to take D3, you've got to take K2 with it, period. That's the only way to take it. I don't recommend taking it any other way. If there's some reason you can't take K2, talk to your doctor and see what they say. But I would not take vitamin D without K2 for that reason. That was one of the most interesting things to learn. Well, I'm so glad. Um, okay, so there's that. Now, the D3K2, that's going to improve your immunity. It's going to lower your risk for blood clotting. K2 is also good for the immune system function. It helps bring down inflammation. Bodies that are inflamed are more likely to become sick. Bodies that are stressed, emotional, physical stress, whatever it is, are more likely to become sick. Are more likely to deplete vitamin D and vitamin C very rapidly. As people get sick, you'll see their vitamin C levels just plummet. So vitamin C, generally the problem if you're not getting better with vitamin C is you're not taking enough. And you can take a lot of vitamin C. It is a water-soluble vitamin, not like vitamins. So A, D, E, and K are your vitamins that are fat-soluble. So you have to be careful with your dosage because they'll build up in the fatty tissue. Your other vitamins are non-fat soluble. They're water soluble. So that means you'll pee out any excess. So your B vitamins, your vitamin C, things like that, you're going to be able to pee out any excess. The only issue you're going to have with taking too much vitamin D is it can damage the enamel on your teeth, or C, I'm sorry. There are doctors that will tell you that it can make interstitial cystitis. So some women have interstitial cystitis, some men too, and it's an inflammation in the bladder. Citric acid can irritate it, but I'd experiment to see if sodium ascorbate or ascorbic acid, those are the two types of vitamin C, see if one of those doesn't irritate it. And then that's your vitamin C that you want to use. Okay, so we've got our vitamin D3, our K2, our vitamin C. The other thing that I cannot be without is a nebulizer. And if I had to, if it was the end of the world and the men were at the door with the guns and they said that you can only keep some of your protocol. The rest of it's got to go, right? I would say, please leave me my nebulizer and the things that go in it. Because with a nebulizer, you're taking right into the lungs whatever it is that you're needing. And so the first thing, I did a link. There's a link on there. Let me take this off. Exit screen share. And let me share. This is, you can use any nebulizer you want. I don't like the handheld ones because they don't seem to get the molecules or the droplets small enough. This is a good one. Let me pop that up. And window, this one. Okay, so this is a good home nebulizer. You can use it for your kids. They've got masks. I like the masks because you don't have to sit there with your hand for 20 minutes while you're waiting on a nebulizer treatment to go in. Add to scene. There we go. Anyway, this has got the child size mask, the adult size mask. The little thing with the orange top on it, that's the medicine cup. And then to the left of that is the tubing that attaches the medicine cup to the nebulizer. Let me unshare that. So I'm going to show you my nebulizer isn't that one. So what happened during the last major shit show was that a lot of people donated funds to me to help me have on-hand first aid kits. And so I would have a nebulizer, everything you needed to treat whatever viral illness you had. I had all of that ready to go. And if you lived within a couple hours, I drove it to people that were really sick. And so it was great. I think I have 10 or 20 nebulizers. Red Pill 78, Zach, I sent one out for his mom because she was sick. I think I sent one to him and Lisa too, so that they would have it on hand if they got sick. But so this is my nebulizer. Okay. And they're all basically the same. So this little cup, and I don't want you to be intimidated by the nebulizer. Okay. The first thing you're going to need is saline. If you don't have saline in a pinch, you can absolutely, well, these are not, you can absolutely use distilled water. Both my little guys love using the nebulizer now. I bought them a Fun Dino one. That's so cool. Ashley, so did they get better pretty quick once we started nebulizing them? Her little one's got a respiratory thing, and they were running really high fevers. And I love those little guys. So you can get it in little vials, or you can get it like this. Just don't stick your fingers in it or anything like that. You want to keep it clean. And let me show you. There's a link for. Let me remove this one. Exit. There's another one you can use, and it looks like this. Let me share that. Screen share. Yes. Window. This one. Okay, these come in little 5 ml vials. They might be 3. I can't remember how many mLs are in this vial. 3, 4, 5, something like that. 5 mLs is a teaspoon. Uh-oh, let me make sure I got it on the screen for you. I do not. Okay, 5 mLs is a teaspoon. Those are 5 milliliters. So you just take a teaspoon of this out, or you use one of those little vials. You just break it open. Where'd my nebulizer go? And the links for all that are in the, oh, please. Yes, you have to see. Okay. So you would open up your medicine cup, and you can buy extras of these. So you've got a different one for everybody, or you can just soak it in a little dish soap and vinegar, put a teaspoon into the wash water that you're using. And you can pour this right in. I'm going to pretend I'm measuring it, but I'm not. Oh, for the love of all that is good. And okay, we're going to pretend I opened that and I poured in 5 milliliters, 1 teaspoon. Okay. Somehow I'm shedding. There's hair everywhere. What the heck? Okay. Then the other thing I like to have on hand, I don't want you to get this one, but there is food grade hydrogen peroxide that is 3%. I have 12% and do my own dilution. I don't recommend anyone else do that because if you do the dilution wrong, it can cause problems. So just get, and if you can't get a food grade, if you're sick today, you can use regular peroxide. You'll go online and it will tell you that if you inhale peroxide, it's going to kill you. What it doesn't tell you is that there are different strengths of peroxide, right? So the peroxide that they're talking about is the kind that's used for jet fuel. And it's way over 12%. I can't remember, 20 some percent. And yes, if you are in a room with that, it will burn your lungs. I challenge anybody to sit around all day with an open bottle of hydrogen peroxide under their nose and breathe it, and then let me know if you die. It's just not going to happen. So get the 3% food grade. If you don't have the food grade, whatever's in the brown bottle is fine because it's so dilute. And there's a saying in medicine called the dose makes the poison. So I can give you enough salt to kill you, but no one is afraid to use salt, right? I can absolutely, I can give you so much salt that your blood becomes so hypertonic that all of your cells dump out their fluids and you die of dehydration. Isn't that crazy? That's why putting the right IV fluids on people is so important. So if you're in nursing school, put that in your memory. Check all your IV fluids when you go around and make sure the right fluids are actually hanging. But H2O2 is hydrogen peroxide. H2O is water, right? So H2O2 is just water with an extra oxygen molecule, which is super helpful because viruses do not like highly oxygenated environments. So you take your 3% and you put 2 drops in your teaspoon of saline, okay? And if you're using it on a very little, like a baby infant, do 1 drop, okay? You can go up to 5. This is J. Crow's Lugal's iodine, and these can be used together. And let me show you the picture of this one. Screen share, window, this one. Okay, hold on. I got to find the right picture. Not that one. Hide. Stop that. Not that one. This one. Okay. Go back here and share that. Yes, add to scene. Okay. I like the J. Crow's brand. It's not from China. It's just the one that I recommend. Hold on. Ashley has a question on peroxide. How long does that bottle usually last for? I've had a bottle in my neb bag for over 6 months, and I'm not sure when to replace it. I would probably go ahead and replace that one and just keep it in the freezer. Hydrogen peroxide won't freeze, and it will hold indefinitely in the freezer. Okay, keep it in its original bottle so people know not to drink it. Um, but hold on, let me remove that. Yes. But yeah, you can. I store mine in the freezer. It doesn't freeze up. It's always ready to go. And then I have to pre-dilute mine because it's 12%. So I keep it in a mason jar. But I also don't have kids in my house. I don't have anybody who might accidentally grab that and drink it. Know your own risk, okay? Because you don't want to drink 12% peroxide. It would be bad for you. 3% would give you a tummy ache. So this is the J. Crow's Lugal iodine. And Lugal's iodine, you'll get all these doctors that are like, oh no, if you use iodine, you'll die of hyperthyroid. It's just not true. It's just not. It's all based on faulty science. But you take this Lugal's iodine and you put 2 drops of it in here, okay? Then you put your lid back on. Store in a temp and store. Let me see if mine gives a temp. Mine doesn't. Interesting. We'll follow the direction on your bottle, but I would keep it refrigerated. Then you just put this on, you turn it on. I don't have it plugged in, and you breathe until it's gone. And you can do that hourly. Okay. If you've got a little one who doesn't like to wear the mask, you can do what's called blow by, and you just hold it by their mouth. You can give them a sucker. It doesn't matter if they breathe through their nose. The point is you want to get it in them. And yes, if they'll eat something healthier, that's great too. You got to get it in them. And breathing it through the nose. And I like to tell people to do both. Take some breaths through your mouth, take some through your nose, because the thing with iodine is it is a surfactant. And so all these viruses that are respiratory in nature have a fatty outer coating. It's a lipid, is a fat, right? So if you're washing dishes and you're washing a greasy pan and you put your dish soap in, you know how all the grease goes away? That's what this does. So it washes that fatty outer layer off of viruses, respiratory viruses especially, because they tend to be the ones with a fatty envelope. Um, on that envelope are all of the spike proteins that make you sick, right? So when you pull that apart from the virus itself, the spike protein cannot do what it needs to do if it is separated from the virus. So you can see where that would be very important. This is why explain to your little ones why hand washing is important. We want to wash our hands and show them the grease experiment. Kids need to see things. So take a little bit of cooking oil or whatever and put it in a glass and let your kid drop some dish soap into it and watch that oil spread away, and explain to them that that's like a virus. When you put this little solution or you wash your hands or you use a surfactant on that kind of virus that's coated in fat, the fat goes away and the virus isn't dangerous anymore. So that's why hand washing is so important. So anyway, you can nebulize this, you can inhale it in your nose. The other thing that I like to do is, I couldn't find my amber. I have glass amber spray bottles, and I'm going to show you the ones I use. And for some reason, I couldn't find any of mine. I need to do a good fall cleaning. I didn't spring clean this year. All right, hold on, let me take that one away. Stop screen share. Yes. All right, let me find bottle that I wanted to show you. Here it is. Okay. And let me share that. Sorry, it's a little convoluted going back and forth. I should have uploaded all these. Okay, this is an amber glass spray bottle. Had to see. Okay. And I love these because, first of all, if you're storing iodine in something, it needs to be amber or blue. It needs to be a dark color. And you can make your own nasal spray. Now, these are 1 ounce, right? And I think these are 1 ounce too. And so what I do is I fill it up almost to the top with saline. And then you can do 2 drops of Lugal's iodine, or you can use povidone iodine, which you could find today if you needed it. Let me find that for you. Remove from scene. Yes. So povidone iodine is betadine, and a lot of people are allergic to it. If you're allergic to it, go with your Lugal's. But like I said, if you need something today, you could get this. All right, let me find the right one here for you. Well, stop that. Okay, that is this. And they actually used povidone iodine swabs for nurses, and they would have them swab the inside of their nose several times a day to prevent them from getting infection, because it stops it in the nose, which is super important. But that's povidone iodine. You can get it anywhere. It's cheap. And what you can do is, fill this up almost all the way to the top, so almost 1 ounce, and then add 2 drops of either Lugal's or povidone iodine. And then you can spray this in your nose hourly if you want, because it's pretty dilute. With iodine used in the nose, less is not more. Okay, don't do that. Or more is not, don't use more. Whatever that saying is. Less is better, because you have these little hairs in the nose and throughout the sinuses, and they direct the flow of mucus out of the nose. And if you use an iodine solution that's too strong, or too strong of a peroxide — I don't like peroxide in the nose. I found every dilution burns. I just don't like it. It works, but it burns. If you're using so much that it's burning, it's damaging the inside of the mucosal membrane, and it can cause chronic congestion. So less is more. You don't need much. So just a couple drops of povidone iodine in that. These are just a different kind, but I recommend the glass ones. But these are the plastic ones. And see, this little thing comes up, and then you just squeeze it and it sprays up in your nose. You can do that every couple hours. It will shorten the duration of illness. That is scientifically proven. It will help you have a lower viral load so that you're not spreading that to other people. So definitely before you go to bed, if you're coming down with something, you and your partner get different bottles. Use this, because it'll help you keep from passing things back and forth. The other thing that we learned was that Listerine mouthwash and dilute peroxide will shear the surface off of enveloped viruses. So you can gargle with Listerine. You can choose to gargle with dilute peroxide, half water. I find it irritates the inside of my mouth. I can't use it like that. Um, so I just go with Listerine and just give it a good gargle. Now, with this, if your kids are really freaked out about the iodine, has a little bit of a smell to it. I don't much notice it, but I notice that children um, tend to pick up scents quicker than we do usually, just because everything's not old yet. And so they can find it, annoying or not like the smell or give you a hard time. And what I like for that, and I don't have a link for this, is doTERRA. Rocky Mountain oils is also a safe one to use internally, and so are Guru Nanda oils, but you can find them all online. But I like the doTERRA grapefruit. The reason I like to put grapefruit in, not only because of the smell, make sure you shake it every time, but get your water in there or your saline in there, get your peroxide or not your peroxide, your iodine or your povidone iodine in there, and then put just one drop of this grapeseed in there. Grapeseed is antiviral. You could actually just use saline, grapeseed, and a little bit of xylitol. Xylitol is a natural sweetener. Um, and grapeseed and grapefruit essential oil and xylitol are highly antiviral. And xylitol is just kind of sweet, and you just put a little pinch. You don't need much, just a little pinch of it in there with a drop of grapeseed oil or grapefruit uh, essential oil. And anyway, it'll get rid of the smell. You can also use it in the nebulizer. When we had a lot of people that had been advised to take Tylenol every 4 hours while they were sick with a respiratory virus, which is about the worst thing that you can do, because Tylenol depletes glutathione, and glutathione is your body's natural anti-inflammatory. And so we were finding that people that were ending up in the hospital that had been taking Tylenol around the clock had almost zero glutathione levels. And it was hell to get a hospital to give reduced glutathione. You can give it IV, and they just wouldn't do it. Not for any good reason, just because no, that's the answer. Um, but we were doing, there's a Thera Naturals, I think. Thera Naturals makes a capsule of glutathione that can be used in a nebulizer. It's already got baking soda in it, so you don't have to have saline. You just open the capsule, put it into the nebulizer cup, and then you add distilled water, just a teaspoon of distilled water. And the only bad thing about it was, and we used it with great success, I mean, it reduced shortness of breath in no time. The only problem is it smells like farts. It's so awful. The smell is so bad. And so I would always include some grapeseed or grapefruit uh, essential oil to put in with that, because it made it tolerable. Sadly, a lot of my folks who ended up with a certain respiratory virus also struggled with nausea. And they just could not tolerate that smell for 20 minutes. I mean, it's strong. And so this or wild orange essential oil will also work. I find peppermint's too strong. If you're going to use a peppermint oil, like to help with congestion, just take a toothpick and dip it in there, and then dip the toothpick in the solution. Don't use a full drop, because it'll light you up. Um, Let me think. Is that it? I got my saline. We did the peroxide. We did the nose spray. The D3K2. That's it. So let's sum it up. Let me get my list here for you. Of course, I didn't label it. Yeah, I did. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this up for you. And we'll just go through the list. Hopefully I think you can hear me if we go through the list together. Share screen, window, this one, share. All right, let me get this up here for you. And add a screen. And let me crop this so we can see a little better. We'll get us all set up here. And let's fix me here. Okay. So on our list, and you guys feel free to just snap a picture of that. Let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So on our list, we've got the nebulizer, and there's the link for it. We've got the saline, right? We've got the food grade hydrogen peroxide, 3%. I forgot to put 3%, 3%. And if you're sick now, feel free just to use whatever hydrogen peroxide you have on hand. The 2% Lugel's iodine. And the thing I like about Lugel's iodine is I take it every day orally. I take a whole dropper of it, but I worked up to that, and you have to take it with selenium. This will elevate your T4 thyroid hormone, and T4 converts to T3, which is the active form of thyroid hormone, and you have to have selenium to do that. So you want to take at least 200 micrograms, 200 to 400 micrograms of selenium every day if you're taking iodine. I've got a low thyroid function. I swear by iodine. Um, and I take it with my leothyronine thyroid med, which is a T3 med, and my labs are just fine. I just take it. It doesn't taste great, but I get a whole dropper of it, squeeze it into water, drink it down, take my selenium, and I'm done. Um, and there's not a lot I take every day. I think people get the idea that maybe I take a lot of stuff in a day. I really don't. I I'm back on my D3K2, and I'm on some extra stuff because my stomach's been so bad. But I take my Lugel's iodine every day, my selenium. I take a little bit of vitamin C and my D3K2. That's it. I don't take a whole lot of stuff. I try to keep it simple. Um, but anyway, here's your 2% Lugel's iodine, the povidone iodine. You can just get that at Walmart or Walgreens. It's cheap. It's going to be like $2. Your vitamin C sodium ascorbate, but you can use whatever vitamin C you like best. These are just inexpensive, and I know them to be good brands. I don't make any money off of them. I don't have whatever that is where you can make money off of sharing links. I just share them because I find them helpful for you and me. So, and there's the glass amber nasal spray bottle, and that seals up really nice. You can even keep it in your purse and it doesn't leak, which I like. Selenium, 200 micrograms a day, 200 to 400. I find 200 is just fine. And let me find the brand of that for you too. I should have included that. I'm sorry. Amazon selenium, and you can take whatever's local at your store. This is just an easy way for me to show you what's out there. 200 micrograms. Let me grab a screenshot of this. All right, trying to find mine. Hold on. I don't think it's this one. It is the Bronson Selenium. I do take that one. Okay, let me share this screen so you guys can see it. But yeah, that's not optional. If you're going to take, what the heck? Right. I lost my, um, I forgot what I was saying to you. Okay, let me share the screen. Share screen, this one, share. Go back here, make sure you can see it. This crazy thing. It's on Amazon. It keeps, what the, hold on, I've lost you. Give me a second. Where's my people? There they are. Okay. Of course it's not centered. I'll try that. Okay, anyway, it's Bronson. This is terrible. Let me see if I can grab it. Or maybe move it over here. There we go. Bronson Basic Selenium, 200 micrograms, 250. You're only going to take that once a day, so that's going to last you forever. 250 days. That's a long time. Um, and I just don't even think about it. I just take it and take my iodine, and that's how it goes for me. And I've noticed the whole screen just went out. Um, but anyway, that's it. That's all I do. I think the beauty of having um, cancel. I don't want to do that. Um, hold on, we're going to fix this here. I think the beauty of having a simple protocol is that it's simple, right? You don't need a whole lot of stuff. My whole toolkit is my nebulizer, my saline. This is everything I need for the nebulizer. So I got my saline, my peroxide, saline, J. Crow's. I don't really use this, but you can use it for littles if the smell bothers them. And I would do just the little toothpick in there and in there, so it's not too overwhelming for them. But I've not. Ashley, have you found that your kids do they mind the nebulizer with the peroxide and the Lugal's iodine? Do they find that smell is tough? Hers are little. And Lady Jex is fading fast. Love her heart. Hang in there, sweetie. Um, anyway, that's it. Pretty much my nebulizer, my vitamin C, D3K2, and you've got it. I would be taking that D3K2 every day. Um, and if you can get your level checked, I tell people I want you to know your vitamin D level like you know your age, because it's that important, right? Actually, probably more important. I lie about my age all the time. I don't really. Um, you really need to make sure that your vitamin D levels are good because it is just the crux of so many things in your body. I will occasionally get somebody who tells me that they're taking the vitamin D and their levels aren't going up, no matter how much vitamin D we give them. And generally, that is a lack of magnesium. So if magnesium is low, sometimes it doesn't matter how much vitamin D you take, it will not go up because the magnesium is so low. And so usually what we do is we bring them down to a normal dose of vitamin D or suggest that, and then add some magnesium and their levels pop up where they need to be. So if your doctor's getting frustrated because they've got you on D2, ask them to switch you to D3, and your levels aren't coming up. And if your levels don't come up with the D3, talk to them about magnesium. Help educate your doctor because they know very little about this stuff, sadly. Vets give livestock selenium. Yes, doctors don't consider we need it. I know, it's crazy. That's interesting. What do they, Marie, what can you give me a little more information on that? Why specifically animals would need it? Ashley says, I haven't used it on the littlest yet. The oldest can do it, but I need to do it more to get a better feel for his tolerance. Gotcha. Our soil is dead, so nothing is getting nutrients. You're absolutely right. Um, I'm going to have to eventually give up and garden, and there's nothing I dislike more than gardening. But maybe now that I'm older, I would develop a love for growing my own food. It could happen. My kids garden, so that's good. I can mooch from them. Um, Ashley says he watches a tablet while nebbing, so I'm starting small so it doesn't irritate his eyes. Yeah, it shouldn't. I think just one drop of each is fine, shouldn't irritate the eyes. The saline will help loosen up any congestion in the lungs and in the sinuses. It will definitely shorten the course of illness, so where you're looking at, for a flu, you're looking at 7 to 14 days being pretty miserable. We usually can get people down to about 3 and back to work, in 4. Um, with the other thing that's potentially going around, we can usually get them turned around in 48 hours if they start right away. These latest variants have just been so mild. I've not had a whole lot of people really do anything about them. The other thing that I'll let you know that is antiviral, and you can look this up, naproxen sodium is antiviral. Um, and naproxen sodium is an NSAID, so like Motrin, ibuprofen, and we were using early on, like when Delta was bad, we were using naproxen sodium, and it comes in a 200 milligram tablet. We were breaking that in half and taking 100 milligrams twice a day because NSAIDs can increase your risk for stroke. So we wanted to use the lowest dose possible. And that actually seemed to really, really help people. But it's interesting because it's antiviral against flu as well. So you can kind of look that up and do some reading on that. They both can do saline neb super easy. Yeah, I would start. If you've not added anything to it yet, I would start with the iodine and do 1 drop of iodine. The reason, like if I had to pick iodine or peroxide, I would pick iodine every time because iodine is an essential nutrient. Because iodine is mucolytic, so it breaks up the sliminess of mucus that makes it more water-like and easier to cough up. And it's antiviral, bacterial, and antifungal. So you're really hitting just about everything when you use iodine. So if I had like, I think what I've noticed is that I can't use very much peroxide because I find it irritating, even just to rinse with. And that's just me personally. Most people I know don't have any trouble with it, but I just use one drop. And if I find that irritating, then I'll use more Lugol's and not use the peroxide at all. But most people tolerate the peroxide fine. What if you can't take naproxen? I'm allergic to NSAIDs too. You just don't take it. It's not an antiviral that's in your list. So you do the D3, K2, the vitamin C, you just do everything else. It's not a magic pill. It just is one. So when we go at a virus this way, I like what I didn't understand about what went on with this last outbreak was there had to be only one answer. And with respiratory illnesses, it's always a multi-pronged approach. Every pneumonia patient I've ever had, every patient who's got a ventilator acquired pneumonia or is just in with any kind of regular pneumonia, any kind of respiratory illness, it's never just one thing that makes them better. It's just not. And the reason I like Lugol's iodine is because we don't generally know if you have a respiratory infection without doing a culture. I don't know whether it's bacterial, viral, or fungal. So why not use something that gets all three, right? That just makes sense. So we're hitting that from multiple rounds. So a lot of times we'll treat a virus with an antibiotic in the mindset that this might turn into a secondary bacterial infection. An antibiotic will do nothing for a virus. It just doesn't work for viruses. It would be like using peanut butter for a spermicide. I mean, it's just not meant for that purpose. It's just not going to work. It might be fun. I don't know. It's not something I've ever tried, but don't do it, right? And so that's the thing with antibiotics. People go to the doctor and they're sure if they've got a fever, they need an antibiotic, and you don't. It's like they're sure if they've got a fever, they need Tylenol. No, you don't. Your body creates fever to make an inhospitable environment for things that aren't supposed to be in there. Let it burn. There's this idea that if you get up to 104, your brain's going to cook. Not true. Doesn't happen, period. Now, if you've got a child that's prone to febrile seizures, that's a different story, but most kids aren't. Um, and, like the dosage of even Tylenol and ibuprofen, I don't know how you have a standard dosage for every human being on the planet. It's crazy. If I had to use one of those, I would probably use half the dosage they suggest and see how I do. Um, because you're causing so many other problems with Tylenol. You're lowering glutathione. It is an endocrine disruptor. If you're pregnant, something you definitely don't want to take because it interrupts the endocrine system of the child, and that secretes sex hormones. I'm super curious to see some studies on people who had to rely heavily on Tylenol during a pregnancy and how that has affected the endocrine system of that child. Are they more prone to diabetes? Are they more prone to just different endocrine disorders? I'd be super curious to know because we know that it is an endocrine disruptor. I don't even keep Tylenol in my house and I can't take NSAIDs. So that tells you something. Um, I mean, I'll just suffer. I just won't, I'll take a buttload of turmeric, but I will not take Tylenol. And I won't let my husband take it either. Uh, Marie says when livestock go down or sick or lethargic, they hit them with selenium and it brings them back because soil is dead, grass fed isn't getting what it needs. Interesting. Marie, I'm going to do some more research on selenium. I know selenium was one of the micronutrients recommended during the last illness that went around. And other than its benefit for use with iodine, I don't know a whole lot about it. So I'll definitely look at that. If you don't want to take a selenium pill, if you can get some good organically grown Brazil nuts, 5 Brazil nuts will give you 200 micrograms of selenium. The thing is, you've got to find it organically, and I find it's more expensive than just buying the pills because I've got to buy it organically, and nuts aren't cheap. Um, Also, deep breathing, and you get sick, and you know how it's so hard when you're sick to take care of yourself. You really do need someone else. Because like when I got sick, we got sick with the last thing, January, February, and I was really sick. I was back on oxygen when I got it. And I just felt so bad that I didn't do any of the things that I knew to do. And so this is why I think it's a good idea that we did this video today, because we're coming into these respiratory viruses that we see this time of year every year, and they all basically respond to the same things. I don't want to see people taking things like Tamiflu. Could you get a more dangerous drug? I mean, it causes suicidal, homicidal ideation, causes suicide and homicide. In other countries, you can't even give it to children under 16 because it so affects them um, uh, neurologically. They've had kids that have had delusions, have tried to kill their parents. Kids run into traffic and get killed, jump off balconies. They will give Tamiflu to pregnant women. And if you look up Tamiflu, it's a pregnancy category. Hold on, let me look it up for you. I can't believe they give it to pregnant women. It boggles the mind. Pregnancy category, Tamiflu. It's a pregnancy category C medication, indicating that controlled clinical studies have not been conducted to assess the safety of these medications for pregnant people. There's actually more to category C. Hold on. Pregnancy. I do get that high fever is dangerous in pregnancy. C. It says the risk cannot be ruled out. There are no satisfactory studies in pregnant women, but animal studies, this is for Tamiflu. Are you listening? Share this. Animal studies demonstrated a risk to the fetus. Potential benefits of the drug may outweigh the risk. They don't know, and they still write this prescription to pregnant women. It just blows my mind. I'm like, and the thing with Tamiflu is they found that if it works at all, it doesn't stop you from spreading it. It reduces the time that you're sick by a day or less. Is that worth risking the gestation of your child? There's so many things that we're so careful to avoid when we're pregnant on the off chance it could cause any harm to baby, but they'll tell you to take Tylenol and they'll give you Tamiflu. It just blows my mind. If you are pregnant and you get the flu and your doctor suggests giving you a prescription for Tamiflu, ask them if they know what pregnancy category that drug is. Just ask them, do you know what pregnancy category that is? They're not going to know. And then tell them a C and ask them if they know what a pregnancy category C drug is, that there are no reliable studies that prove it's safe, and the studies that are available in animals show that it causes harm to the offspring. Do you still think I should take this drug, obstetrician? And they'll tell you, oh, well, we've given it to so many people. Okay, well, at least tell me I'm taking that gamble then. Say, we've given it to a lot of people. We've seen birth defects and stuff, but we can't determine whether it's from that. The fact is they don't know and they just give it. What effects does turmeric have that you'll take a boatload of it? I'll take it like if I'm really having a lot of inflammatory pain. So I have rheumatoid arthritis. And if my hands are just killing me where I can't hardly move them in the morning, I'll take a big like double dose of turmeric. And it helps some. I don't find it's hugely helpful. I've not found anything hugely helpful for arthritic, painful hands. If you guys know of something, I've tried rubs, Tiger Balm, Cayenne. I mean, you name it. I've tried it, and I just wake up and my hands are so stiff and just hurt. It takes a while to get going, and I've had that since a year after I had my hysterectomy. Interesting, I think. You would think they would have to. You would think they would have to know that, but these are the same doctors that are telling pregnant women. And I'm going to have to take this video down off YouTube as soon as it's done. But these are the same doctors that tell pregnant women that it's okay to take a COVID shot. That's not even. I mean, the most recent one hasn't even been tested on animals. The bivalent one that came out before this one had only been tested on 10 mice. And that's what we're doing with mRNA now. So as you see these newer vaccines come out, like the flu vaccine is going to go to mRNA, they're now saying that they don't have to test these new vaccines because the mRNA platform has already been tested and found to be safe, which is not true. But definitely something that I want you guys to be mindful of when you're making those kinds of decisions for yourself and you're helping people that you love make decisions. The thing is why would you give a vaccine to a pregnant woman? Even the flu shot doesn't prevent the flu, doesn't, and the same thing with the other thing, doesn't prevent you spreading it, doesn't lessen the duration of it. Why exactly am I taking it? Because there's risks involved. I mean, I can't take a flu shot because I'm allergic. And I couldn't find anybody. I like did a study, I went around to everybody and told them about my mast cell disease and was like, would you give me a COVID shot? And they were all like, no, absolutely not. So there was nobody that would give it to me with my history of anaphylactic reactions to a flu shot. But you had doctors on television. I mean, you had Leanna Wen. Like, if anybody should be taken away from Twitter and never allowed to speak again, Leanna Wen is one of them. Leanna Wen was telling people, basically that the only way you were going to get your life back was to get this shot. And if you let people come out without getting the shot, then how were you going to lure them into getting the shot? Why should people that didn't get it have the same freedoms? And I'm like, why are you pushing a shot that you can tell me does not prevent infection, does not stop transmission, and isn't shown to prevent hospitalization? Exactly why am I taking this? I mean, give me a good reason. If you can give me a good reason, okay. And it's kind of like Donald Trump saying millions of people were saved by these shots. The fact that you took a shot and you didn't die from that particular illness, it's funny, correlation doesn't equal causation when you're talking about ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or any of those things. But when you're talking about the vaccine, it absolutely does. And it doesn't. The fact that you got a flu shot last year does not mean that that's why you didn't get the flu. You may have just not got the flu. Um, and the same with the COVID shot. So President Trump is assuming that everybody who got that shot, who got COVID, who didn't die because they got that shot, or they didn't die because COVID's not nearly as lethal as it used to be, because we have early treatments, because the variants have changed so much. So let's talk about all the factors, not just one thing. Let's go back through here, make sure I didn't miss any questions. I've got to look. Okay, let's look up selenium while I've got you. Just curious. Okay, the role of selenium in viral infections with a major focus on SARS-CoV-2. I'm just going to read the abstract. Viral infections have afflicted, this is from the National Institute of Health. Let's see who did this study. This is from 2022 of January. Petra Tusuji. No, that's the editor. Looking to see if there's any doctors' names I recognize. There's not. Viral infections have affected human health, and despite great advancement in scientific knowledge and technologies, continue to affect our society today. The current coronavirus pandemic has put a spotlight on the need to review the evidence on the impact of nutritional strategies. Selenium, an essential trace element in humans, has a long history of lowering the occurrence and severity of viral infections. So does iodine. Much of the benefits derived from selenium are due to its incorporation into selenocysteine, an important component of proteins known as selenoproteins. Viral infections are associated with an increase in reactive oxygen species and may result in oxidative stress. We know that was true with COVID. That's why methylene blue is such a great thing. And the rate of mutations in the viral genome, leading to an increase in pathogenicity and a damage to the host. This review examines viral infections, including SARS-CoV-2, in the context of selenium in order to inform potential nutritional strategies. Let me see if what this their final. They've actually got several viruses in here: influenza. Says these in vitro and animal studies suggested that in vivo, meaning in body, selenium supplementation might have a beneficial effect on humans, especially in the elderly, as the immune response is compromised by age. So they did a 12-week randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial in 6 groups of individuals with low selenium levels. to observe the response after the flu vaccine was provided. Why would you give me another confounding factor? They were given daily capsules of, where'd it go? 4 groups were given daily capsules of yeast. 20% participants were given 0 milligrams of selenium, placebo. 18 were given 50 micrograms. What a small dose. 21 got 100 micrograms. 23 received 200. 2 groups were given onion-containing meals. Just throw all kinds of stuff in here. 17 participants received 1 microgram of selenium a day in unenriched onions. Okay, what was the result? Selenium supplementation compared to placebo had beneficial and detrimental effects on cellular immunity response to the flu vaccine that was dependent on the type of selenium and dose administered, I would think. I don't like this study because you've got so many other things in it, but they've got information on HIV. There's an association with low selenium levels and adverse health outcomes and mortality in people who have HIV. They've got Hep C and B in this, polio, all kinds of stuff. Interesting. I'll have to read that later and get back to you with some more information on it. But anyway, that's all I had. I just wanted to make sure that I went over that with you. The links for everything are on Rumble in the description section. So you can just go there and pull up those links and find every little thing and order it. Or you can just run, just write it down what it is and run out to Walmart and get your stuff or wherever it is you buy your things. If you don't like big box stores, then go to your health food store. But you can get all that stuff, have it on hand. The only thing you'd probably have to order is your nebulizer. And gladly, I was really worried that they were going to make it where you can't just go to a store and buy one of these, which is really interesting to me. You have to have a prescription, but you can go and buy one off Amazon without a prescription. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe it's changed and you can buy them from stores now. I don't know. But I think I got a deal on these because we were buying so many at one time because we'd had a donation for it. So I think I gave like $35 a nebulizer, which was well worth it and lives saved. We ran these little things all over Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio. Man, I did some driving during COVID, that's for sure. And then we mailed some out, especially to our podcaster community like Zach. I think it helps Zach to continue the great work, Red Pill 78. I think it helps him continue the great work that he does to know that his mom has got a first aid kit for respiratory illness on hand. And somebody had mentioned in the chat that Zach's mom was sick. I didn't ever find out what was going on with her, but I've been praying for her and I let Zach know if she needs anything to let me know because she's closer for me to drive to than she is for Zach. She's either in Ohio or Michigan. But I would absolutely drive to help Zach's mom. Anyway, that's all I've got. We will do current events on Friday. I think I'm just going to pick 5 and normally I do 12. So I think I'm just going to pick 5 and then we're going to talk about some different topics so that it's not all so heavy. I worry about you guys getting too much news and things being so heavy for you and heavy on your hearts and your spirits. And I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of help bringing solution and peace and resolution to things. And so we're going to try to aim that direction because I do worry about you guys and your emotional and spiritual well-being. Marie says, interesting on the onions, putting a raw onion cut in half in a room pulls viruses out of the air. Marie, my grandma, my mom's mom, used to slice up onions and mix them with lard. And then she would put them on our feet and put these heavy socks on our feet. And then she'd put Vicks Vapor Rub on our chest and on our necks. And she'd take one of my dad's old big crew socks and safety pin it around our neck so that we didn't, get it in our eyes and stuff during the night. And then she'd put us in really heavy sleepers. And she would give us brandy with some lemon and honey in it. And man, you'd sleep, you'd sweat your butt off all night long, but you'd wake up and you were better. It always worked. Very, very smart. Ashley says, this has been such a fantastic live stream. I like how dense it is with treatment info. It will be nice to refer to when in need. Thank you for doing this. Yeah, I wanted to keep it short. And I know an hour and 10 minutes isn't short, but I wanted to keep it as short as I could. So you guys can just pull this up, refer to it, send it off to people. There's a lot of jabber at the end. You could just cut out and tell them, hey, just watch this minute to this minute. Um, but if you've got any questions, my email is in the description in the Rumble chat. My website is in there. If you want to donate, the links for that are in there. You can do that via PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. And we really appreciate it. Thank you so much to the people who donated even when I wasn't doing shows because I was just so sick. I'm having more good days than bad days right now. I'm just not able to really eat. I had a slice of cheese today and I've had some milk. It's just been really hard. Hopefully we'll get it resolved soon, and that's going to be a journey too. Not looking forward to having a gastric bypass, but it is really the only way to solve the hiatal hernia, the ulcer that's in my esophagus, which is really bad, and the one that's in my stomach, and then I just have this chronic inflammation in the stomach. So we got to get it fixed. I really don't want to do it. I know you guys know I don't want to do it, but we'll do it. We'll get through it. And my husband's so wonderful. He's like, babe, we'll do it. We'll get on the other side of it. It's going to be okay. You bounce back well. You've got all these people who pray for you and love you and support you. And I do. And it's just meant the world to me. I'll just get a little, if I haven't answered your emails, it's not because I haven't read them. It's just, I've just not been feeling good. But thank you for all your prayers and love and support. And I see you guys saying, hey, don't forget to pray for Nurse Penny. I see it in other chats and it just, you guys are just awesome. I just love you guys. Marie says, thank you, Penny. So good to see your beautiful face. It's so good to see you guys. I'm going to close there, try to eat a little bit more. And we just keep pushing forward, right? We just do what we got to do every day. And somehow we make it to the other side of all the hard things. So let me pray us out. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for everybody who came to join today. And I just pray that this information that you've helped me find would be beneficial to so many and would reduce suffering and reduce time that people are ill and get them back into the swing of things and definitely reduce suffering for our poor little kids who get sick. It's so hard to watch. And I just pray that this would help snap them back quickly. And Father, I pray for everybody going into this cold and flu season and these political times. Father, I pray for the emotional and the spiritual well-being of every person who watches this video, even for a second. I pray that you bring a sense of peace to them and that you surround them with people who love them, family, even if it's at a distance, Facebook, things like that. It's so important to have our tribe of people that are rooting for us, and I'm rooting for them, Father. I pray for every single person who watches this show, even for a second, that they would be blessed and that they would bless others. And we just thank you so much for all this information and for how you surround us with ways that are accessible to get well, that we don't have to have health insurance, and because a lot of people don't, Father, and we want them well too. And we just thank you for that wisdom and for guiding us in the right direction. And most of all, we thank you for your son, Jesus. It's in his name we pray. Amen. All right, guys, I love you whole big bunches. Patriot stream for you. Welcome. We don't do links in the chat without asking first, but we'll let that one slide since we're at the end. And as long as I'm feeling well, we'll be on Friday at 8:30. I don't want to give a promise because then if I don't feel well, I feel so guilty for not being there. But we'll see how it does. Like I said, I'm having more good days than bad days, having about 3 good days a week. So that's huge, where I can actually eat a little bit and just not be totally sick. So yay, that's something. And I think that's in large part due to your guys' love and prayers. And it really means the world to me. So hopefully we'll see you Friday. If not, I'll be honest, I'm feeling well. I'm sorry the schedule's all over the place and not predictable, but that's what I can do right now. And I appreciate you guys supporting me in that. So I love you whole big bunches. Nurse Penny out.